Right.
There's 17 fissures that direction. And then 24, then there's the one we drove by that's steaming. The one behind it that's steaming is on the next street up, and then there's 2 more behind that. They're not steaming.
So it's like all in a line.
It's one of the straight lines. This whole line is considered the fissure. And then each of them, as they came out of the earth, were numbered.
See the lava, the rock from the lava on both sides of the road here. From 2018 eruption from Kilauea, the same volcano that I went and saw the other day. Lava making its way to the sea. If I remember correctly, I think everyone was able to get out. I know there were some injuries, but I don't think there were any deaths. I don't believe so. But a lot of destruction with the houses and structures that were in the way. Imagine, man, that hot lava, man, it's high. Just coming towards your house, having to leave. This is not far from where I'm staying, not at all. Where I'm staying is probably like 10 minutes, or less than that actually. This is Pahoa. This is actually where I'm staying. I know I say the Hilo side, which is the city on this side of the island, but Pahoa is the town that I'm staying in or near. Wow, I guess. I wonder if that house was. I wonder if that's a new house or if the house was there and was just spared. Just wanted to give y'all a look at just how high it is. I mean, imagine there's lava coming down, flowing down. I mean, it's pretty high. That is a lot of lava. So the side. There's a lot of lava coming down. See the layers of it and how high it is. Imagine that much lava, hot lava, magma flowing down towards your home. That's crazy. Just wanted to kind of give y'all a picture of how much lava it was coming down the road. Yeah. And so I just booked a tour with a lady that lives in the neighborhood where that 2018 lava came through. So I'm gonna meet her here in a little bit. I believe it's at her house, and I think she's right next to a fissure. So we're gonna check that out and check out her story since she lived through it. But that should be interesting. Yeah, do you mind if I video? I'm trying to document my whole trip.
Documenting the whole trip.
Well, yeah. So I've been snorkeling. I went to see the volcano at the eruption.
Volcano National Park.
Yeah.
How is it going right now?
Yeah, it was. I went on, was it Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. It was it was a sight to see. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, lava is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's been good stuff. But yeah, and when I first planned this trip, I read the reviews back in, this was maybe the end of last year, beginning of this year, and I forgot about it. And I was walking or driving by the I guess the lava flow where it crosses the road today, right up the road,
Yeah,
where you can see
over there.
see it on both sides of the road. I was
Yeah.
like, let me check back, see if I can find you. It took me a little while to find you again,
Yeah.
but I
It
appreciate.
crosses the road in a lot of places down here.
Say what?
It crosses the road in a lot of places down
Oh,
here.
okay.
Just haven't quite seen that yet.
Gotcha. Do you mind if I video?
I mean, let me put my hat on though.
Okay.
I don't know what to put. Like, I went and moved a bunch of stuff today, and
Okay.
yeah.
The Fissure 8 tours. So I checked this tour that I checked this I saw an ad for it online when I was first making my plans for Hawaii. But this neighborhood.
Where you guys snorkeling at?
I went the first time on is it Richardson Park or
Richardson's?
is
Yeah,
that a
it's
beach?
good
Richardson
snorkel
Beach?
spot.
Is that the name of Richardson Beach?
Richardson Beach, yeah. That's
Yeah.
in Gila.
So that was the first time I went. Saw a bunch of fish. Saw some sea turtle, which was really cool. I swam the sea turtle. Then like that Tuesday, I've been running. I've been early. I got up there early morning to see the volcano. Early Tuesday morning, so like 2 o'clock in the morning. I left there, went to the Kona side, went to Captain Cook Bay, hiked down there, did some snorkeling, and went back, did a what's it, manta ray snorkel, but we didn't see any manta rays. So
That's the second
that
time
was
I've heard that. I've heard in the past 2 weeks. I heard one person say they saw one,
yeah.
and I saw somebody else say that there was a bunch of them. So I guess it
Yeah.
just maybe depends.
Yeah,
on
so I went with
where
Big
you go.
Island Divers, but they said that if I can come back and do, I can come back for free and they'll put me on standby. So I was on standby today, but they said they'd let me know by 2 p.m. So doesn't look like I made it today. So tomorrow's my last day. Yeah, tomorrow's my last day here. So
Like,
hopefully.
it's my last day, please.
Right,
Just
yeah. So
find me a spot. Please.
Right, yeah.
Find me
That's
a
it.
spot.
Yeah.
See what they say.
But I've been enjoying my time here. That's the only thing that's been down for me. It's missing the manta rays going to that tour. But it's all good. Yeah. Oh, so you've seen them? How?
I did.
How,
I didn't see
how do
them
you
for
like
a
'em?
long time.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just some touristy stuff.
yeah.
to do.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, it's just some touristy stuff. I don't
Yeah.
want to do all that.
Uh-huh.
My friend goes, no, it's not like that. So it's really cool. I was like, all right, we'll see. And this still took me like a year to even get over to
Yeah.
the side into it.
So you saw it. How
But,
was
yeah.
it? How'd you like it?
It was cool.
It was cool.
It was
Okay.
cool. Yeah, it's definitely worth if you can get on the boat
Right.
and see it again. It's
Yeah,
definitely-
I'm hoping to get a call tomorrow. I'm gonna call them tomorrow and just beg, pretty much just beg. This is my once in a lifetime trip to Hawaii. I need this. I'll give y'all a great review.
I mean, yeah.
But
Yeah, was it, what time did you go out? Like,
it was. I did the late one because it
Okay.
was like 9:30.
that could be why, because it's a later, like a
Mm.
late one.
Yeah,
And maybe they
mhm.
already kind of
Maybe.
went.
I don't
And they
know.
were just hoping there would be
But
some.
I asked the people that had just come back and they said they didn't see anything.
Didn't see
Yeah. So I don't know. It was a bad day, but when I called today, they were like, yeah, they saw them Wednesday and Thursday, the 2 days since then. Well, at least that's what they're telling me. They said they saw them.
No, they probably
But,
did then.
yeah,
Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah.
They probably did.
So
Well, hopefully it'll just be the best experience ever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when
I'm
on
hoping
your
so.
do-over,
But,
you'll get the best
yeah,
one.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Yeah. But
Well, how much do you know about the eruption?
not much.
Not much? Okay.
Not much. This is from the 2018
Yep.
eruption. Okay. So she just showed me a video and showed me some of the background of what happened. I mean, it was right here in this neighborhood, the Fissures, and the lava flow right here in this, right by her house. Actually, you can see her house in the video. She's blessed not to have had the lava come through her home, but driving to one of the fissures, but we're getting some firsthand. I'm getting firsthand account of what happened. So this was back in 2018 eruption. I am following her down the road.
Now the adventure begins.
All right, here we go.
So this road right here used to go all the way through. So we're actually walking on 2018 lava. We used to go through to the road that you drove in on, and then you could drive down to the ocean over there. Yeah.
So I saw in the video, because I just passed the geothermal place. So what did they, because they said they were doing something to stop the lava from hitting that geothermal spot. You know what they did?
I'm not sure what they did.
Yeah.
I think they just did a lot of preparations. Just moving some of the more flammable stuff and things like that.
All right.
But when you look at a topographical map, I think they just conveniently placed it in a good spot.
Yeah.
So that there's kind of a range of previous craters that are at a higher elevation.
Yeah.
So I think they just kind of put it there.
Okay.
And obviously this whole area is anticipation of a lava zone.
Yeah.
So I think they just placed it properly.
Yeah.
And it went around it. But there's opposing viewpoints of everything, and I'm not that knowledgeable about it to say like, you know, do I have any knowledge of this way or this way myself? It's just kind of, I know what both opposing viewpoints are.
Yeah.
Some people have claimed that, you know, the drilling, which is not technically fracking, but it's similar to fracking, I suppose, caused the eruption. But this is an area that does do that every 50 years, 60 years.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of that area where fissure eruptions happen. But it did happen.
Yeah. So when it happened, were you here?
I'll point to where I used to be. Yeah, we were evacuated the day before.
Yeah.
And then the next day there was lava coming out of the first fissure. So
that's on the video, it said like it was shooting up 200 feet, I think it said.
Yeah, it didn't instantly do that though.
Yeah.
So what happened was, the way this comes down, and then back there is fissure 24. We drove by fissure 9.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 more fissures behind that. And then the other side going this way, there's 17 fissures.
Okay, so are these fissures?
One big long crack.
Okay, so are these fissures, so could more lava potentially come at some point? Is that what these fissures are? Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, would it?
Always possible.
I'm guessing, so these fissures come like from the volcano, like underground,
yes,
and the lava comes up.
So this was a fissure eruption, which is more rare than a regular eruption.
Ah, gotcha.
A regular eruption.
Okay, so the lava that came here, it didn't come like out of Kilauea and flow out this way. It came like underground.
Underground. So there's a hot spot under this entire most of the island.
Right, yeah.
And that's where kind of lava bubbles up from deep, 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 deep.
Right.
And then from there, it kind of spreads out and goes up and spreads out and goes up and spreads out.
Yeah.
And then Kilauea is the shield volcano, so it has Mauna Loa erupted back in December, but it was a very, just a short little eruption. I mean, Mauna Loa can go for years.
Yeah.
So in 1983, Pu'u'o'o, which is still in the national park, but at a little bit lower elevation from Halemauma crater, that opened up in 1983. And that went until 2018. In 2018, there was a big earthquake.
Yeah.
Pu'u'o'o collapsed. So within the crater at the park and Pu'u'o'o, it had erupted consistently for 30 years, 30 plus years.
Oh, wow.
And then Pu'u'o'o collapsed.
Yeah.
The crater was still full of lava, but something changed underground, and then it started flowing from the magma storage that goes up into the crater.
Yeah.
It started flowing past Pu'u'o'o through the chamber. It's called a dike intrusion. And the lava flowed through, and then it just built up. Just happens to be the spot where it builds up the most pressure in a block or whatever. It builds up pressure, and then it cracks the earth open. And then ultimately 24 fissures were spitting out lava at different times.
Wow.
Some days, you know, well, it looks like 3 and 6 are going today, and then, but that was all in the first couple of weeks. Ultimately, what we're standing on is Fissure 8, lava that came from Fissure 8, and that became the dominant fissure, and everything else kind of calmed down, but that whole crack was full of lava. But it was very minimal.
Yeah.
If Fissure 8 had not, the event of Fissure 8 not happened anywhere during this eruption, it broke and turned around and went the other way underground or something.
So which one is Fissure 8?
Yeah, we're on it.
Okay, this one right here.
This
Okay.
is Fissure 8.
Gotcha.
So, you know, it would have been pretty minimal, like Fissure 24 out there.
Yeah.
Like the one that we drove by, where it was just that little bit of lava that we drove through and kind of oozed down. The whole 1.5-mile crack would have looked like that. But it didn't, and this happened.
Fissure 8, huh?
Yeah, so it took about 3 weeks for Fissure 8 to become dominant and bust with the 200 feet of lava.
Yeah.
And then it just took over.
So you said you weren't in this house then. So did your house, is it gone?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's gone. It's under at least 65 feet of lava.
Gotcha.
And probably closer to 100 or more feet of lava.
Yeah.
If we were this spot 5 years ago, well, it would be shooting up. So 5 years and 1 month ago, we were standing on this spot. We would be able to drone. We would be little drones in the air, watching our cars drive underneath us.
Yeah.
And turn into the driveway that used to be here. Turn into that driveway over there. Little houses.
Yeah, so our house is all out here.
We would be watching a continuation of all that green and houses we see.
Right.
We would be floating in the air above all of that, watching it like from a bird's eye drone perspective.
Yeah.
So none of this was here. None of the black was here whatsoever.
Man.
Except it was a lot more green. So it did take out a lot of greenery.
Yeah.
With the gases and
Yeah.
the heat. It was about 2,100 degrees
Wow.
Celsius. Or sorry, Fahrenheit. About 2,100 Fahrenheit.
Volcanoes. These fissures are kind of like mini volcanoes with lava flowing, spewing up in the air.
Basically, yeah.
Man.
And then where all those, that is the geothermal. And where all those white poles are, it's kind of the highway that you drove down and passed.
Yeah.
Past the geothermal.
Yeah, so the lava went all the way up to the geothermal place.
Yeah, it was coming out of here and it basically was kind of headed for it, and then it took a left, went straight and ran all the way down that ridge, and then took a hard right and spilled out into the ocean all along the coastline.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that, like, where's the smoke coming from? Is it?
Well, we're pretty much on the crack.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's still
is the crack.
Yeah, so is it still
the
like
depth
heat
is
coming up?
Still, yeah, it's still close enough to something that is hot. Mostly
'cause I
just
can hear
water vapor.
Yeah.
For the most part. You guys have to stop steaming. But it is. Yeah, those guys never stop. Never looked at once and not seen it.
Not seeing any smoke.
Yeah, so it kind of changes in the other parts, but that just does its thing. And that giant hole back there is the chasm. So that's about 90 feet down.
You said a chasm?
Yeah, it's called a chasm. And it's about 90 feet down. But it was a much smaller, just a crack. The lava from Fissure 24 oozed out and spilled over the side of that crack and started kind of carving out that edge of flow from the. So it kind of saved a bunch of things over there.
Oh, okay.
But it went down and started filling it up, and then when Fissure 8 got to its point, it kind of backfilled it. So fresh lava, because this lava was 2,100 degrees.
Yeah.
It will, burn old lava like fresh hot plastic would burn older solid plastic. So depending on the material, it would burn it at different rates, or maybe just warp it, or it just depends.
Gotcha. Wow.
Wildly crazy colors.
Oh, excuse me.
And that's created when the gases are forced into the lava as it's shooting up. So there's earthly gases, and as the lava is being forced out, it's forcing air and gases.
Right, yeah.
Which is what makes it so light. That it kind of shoots up, and then the wind just blows it all over like snow. But it's actually called tephra. So depending on conditions and material, like some of it's heavier and it moves. Or kind of like if you take a spray paint can, you hold it upside down, you just push it, and then when you let go, you're gonna have that ring of solid paint on your finger, and then the paint, you know, some of it's gonna come out like a little splatter or a little dot. Lava does the same thing, except it's basically, you know, magnified by a million, whatever. Melted glass. So you'll have chunks that'll come out, and then you'll have the spray, the superest fine misty stuff that comes out.
Yeah.
If the wind isn't blowing, that's what stretches it out and turns it into Pele's hair. By that's steaming, the one behind it that's steaming is on the next street up, and then there's two more behind that. They're not steaming.
It's like all one line.
It's part of the street line. This whole line is considered the fissure, and then each of them, as they came out of the earth, were numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, it flowed, took everything out, really on both sides. 8 primarily went this direction, and since the crack kind of went this direction, all of those fissures flowed downhill as sort of a smaller, oozy, you know, they were fissures.
Yeah. Amazing to me, like how this island is always changing. You know, getting more lava and adding on more land. I mean, it's crazy. It's still changing the shape of the island.
Yeah, it added 873 acres and changed the whole thing. And this isn't really dirt. It's just baby earth. It's just like it's just lava magma, 5 years old. So it doesn't have does not have like a terraformed feel as dirt does. That stuff is thousands to millions of years.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like when I was walking to the crater, I don't know, it felt like I was on the moon or something, because how it felt under my feet and how it sounded and how it looked. It was like I was on another planet. I would relate it to. Right.
because the liquidity of the lava is dependent on the amount of silica in the magma. So that's what makes a very runny, explosive lava, as opposed to the stuff that just oozes out and kind of stays on the ground, rolls around. So they're two, different types of lava. And silica is the main ingredient that determines which one will be which. There's a few others, but mostly it's silica in the lava.
Stay away, so you got evacuated.
We were evacuated 4 months, and then everything was kind of cooled off, and then calmed down, and then the center kind of burbled back up a little bit at the beginning of September, and then it completely drained away.
And this happened, what month did it start?
It started in May.
Okay.
It was May, June, July, and August, and then like that first week of September, it sort of burbled back up a little bit. The main fissure went down because it's really safe. So.
Yeah.
And then you can come back in and start in on the cleanup, because all of these houses were buried in tephra, Kelly's hair, which you can't really lay in that. You don't want to get it on your face or your body. You don't want to get a bunch of it on you. It's basically glass thread, so it'll just go right in like cactus prongs, but it's glass.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to breathe that stuff in. It won't come back out of your lungs. It's coming back nicely after 5 years.
Yeah.
In another 5 years, it should be a nice community again.
Yeah. So what will they do with the fissures? Will they just remain there?
Well, the county has initiated a buyout program that's optional for the residents. They do not have to participate, but they can. And they can get up to the median value of a home at that time, or whatever the raw land was. There's criteria and guidelines. Right. They've bought back now, I think, over 100 properties out here. And they'll probably own about 50%, but people did have the option to sell back if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
what are they planning on doing with it? You're studying it, maybe?
They're going to put up a catchment, so he's going to want water for something. And some people just, I guess you could try to build on it, or I don't really know what you would do with it. I don't know what the county is going to do with it. They have a lot of potential ideas.
Yeah.
But they need to know what properties that they own, because it'll be a checkerboard of people who've bought, so they've got to kind of figure out what they have, and then figure out what project would benefit the community the most, and how they can move forward with that project, etc. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before anything's done. There was a lot of talk of it becoming part of the park, which would be interesting just to preserve it as part of the park. But if the county buys it, they'll most likely preserve it.
It's part of Volcano National Park. Okay.
It's part of the Park Service. They could have deemed its own park.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But there have been people that have come out and bought up properties since the eruption.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure why you would do that. But they've been buying up a few out here. Okay. So I don't think they're gonna get much sympathy or something. Anybody people who needed it have anybody when there's thousands of people, thousands of homes involved.
Right.
There was 700 or 800 homes technically gone. There was a lot more uncommitted structures, and there was a lot more damaged houses and people that couldn't handle the fumes. If they were older and the fumes, they couldn't breathe. The whole area was kind of wrecked, so a lot of people just opted to kind of move on.
Right.
So there's thousands of homes,
Yeah.
and families and farms and things involved. The whole scope of the situation involved thousands of homes and thousands of homes.
Yeah.
So you can't ever make a blanket, laws that are, or blanket, recovery that's gonna specifically work out for every single person.
Right.
But I think they did a really good job of trying to help out as best they could for the majority of people.
Gotcha. Good stuff. I mean, I guess the best out of a bad situation,
Right.
Yeah.
And now if you buy in, well, you're kind of on your own. Like, you kind of know it could erupt.
Yeah.
You can't claim you didn't know it was hazardous.
Right. I would imagine, I guess, the people that are dying now, they're looking to do maybe some type of, they come in and that happened in 2018, or make a little park out of it. That's the best one. That's the only thought I could think of.
I mean, it would be great if it was
Yeah.
You just gotta fund it to maintain it and man it. And do a lot of the properties, and this whole area is still under a private subdivision. So there's still a homeowners association that's in control. And again, the county will own 50% roughly of all of these lots. All the lava covered lots, they'll own about 50%. So you're going to be checkerboarded in between county properties too.
So the county's already bought them.
They've already bought. They've already
from those individual
they've already
homeowners.
Started doing it, and they estimate to be completed by the end of next year.
Okay.
Which could take an extra year because it's the county, but they estimate that they will have it. It's already been in the making for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
They started it. It took them about 3 years to make sure everyone was notified, get their applications in, go through the applications, and actually start doing payouts.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to get through those as quickly as they can at this point. They just want to wrap up that program, get everybody paid, and then move on to what are we going to do with those properties now.
Gotcha.
But there is still a HOA here at the moment.
A what?
A HOA, Homeowners Association, because it's still a private subdivision.
Gotcha.
So there's some conflict between the county and the private subdivision. The county cannot do a lot of things like repair the roads, help with, repair electrical lines, all of those things, because it's a private subdivision. So they can't use public funds to aid a private subdivision.
Yeah.
It would be similar to them, fixing their auntie's house with public funds or something.
Gotcha.
They can't do that. So they're legally, the county could not come in and help a lot of the residents, and still can't because it's a private subdivision.
Yeah.
And they offered to. They made those offers, and at the time, the current board of the subdivision denied, screamed and yelled, and sued them.
Well,
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. You can Google
So
that.
what was their reasoning?
The truth of their reasoning was there was a lot of funds, federal funds available for things. And if they were to allow the county to come in and do it, that federal funding would have went to the county. And they wanted to get their hands on it.
Gotcha.
So they were like, we don't want the county. And here we are 5 years later. All of those people have since moved on with their life. They all started fighting with each other. They all sued each other. They all sued the board. And now we have literally 3 board members left. One is a husband and wife, and then an extra guy that is like running the whole subdivision at this point. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know how much longer it's gonna last under those conditions, but we'll see. I mean, they probably should have taken the county's help when they were offering it and just kind of, turned it over to the county. I think people just have a fear it's kind of a rural area, and they're very afraid of the government. You know, we don't want the government meddling in anything.
Right.
And I keep asking them why. Like, at this point, I understand 6 years ago and for the last 30 years why you wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
I get it, because you had a beautiful little subdivision that was nice and tight and locked up, and everybody was good. But at this point, like, the ship is sunk. Like, you need help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they can't. I've yet to have anyone give me any good answers. I keep asking everyone that question. Why would you not vote for the county to take it over, given this status? We don't like the HOA, but we don't want the county in here. I'm like, why not? And no one has given me an answer yet.
Yeah.
I think it makes the most sense. Personally, I think it makes the most sense. They can afford to fix the things. They can afford to do the things that need to be done. So that's my vote is for the county to take it over and man the subdivision, and put Leilani back through, because Leilani is a county road. All the roads are private except for Leilani Avenue.
Okay.
So they're supposed to be doing some roads, but you know, they get blowback from the HOA, and then they just reallocate the funds somewhere else. Like, we would have had a good subdivision again by now. But see what we can find over here. Just interesting little pieces. This one's not that colorful, but it's definitely
Pele's here.
there's some right there, some over there, and over there. See how it's just little lava flow frozen in time. Here's another gas level, now that the sun is out. And this has a lot of silver in it for whatever reason. And then there's a spot over here that has a lot of blue.
Yeah, this is very light.
It is very light. It's similar to pumice, but it is not pumice. And pumice will float in water. That will only float for a very short time because the holes are too large, and it will fill up with water and sink it. I've had a lot of geologists come and visit, so I usually spend the whole tour asking them questions.
That's it.
So that's how I've learned everything that I know. It's from touring with geologists, people with geology and volcanology experience. And then the pieces that are really shiny and black like that are obsidian-like material, but it's not actual obsidian because this is a basaltic flow. And then if you can catch it in the camera or the light, there's a little chunk of Pele's hair kind of stuck to that rock right there. We got a cloud. Should be some very, very blue rocks over here.
Yeah. A little metallic look.
And that is all the gases. Just being forced up through here. So there's just an entirely different variety of weights and pieces and little chunks of frozen lava. Frozen eruption. This is more of an lava. It's called So it's just very sharp. And then the Pahoehoe lava is the real thick lava that just kind of goes across the surface of everything. Because Pahoehoe in Hawaiian means rope. So it's a very thick ropey surface. This is most likely one called scoria. It has much larger holes. And it's got a different back on the inside. So there's about 80 different names for all the rocks out here, depending on what form they're in, how much light, even the shape of the holes that are in the air-filled ones will make it a difference. Like if they're hexagonal shape or pentagon, like it'll make it an entirely different technical term.
Yeah. So those plants down there, are those, somebody plant those?
Those are planted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Sam. He's the one who bulldozed the road, and he and his wife were there for 30 years. And they raised their kids.
Yeah.
He had a carnivorous plants nursery, world famous, and she's a midwife. So they had a little hospital. They were really a big part of the community, and they still own these 3 acres that go straight over there and over there and down. They own those 3 acres. So their home, their 30 years of life and everything was here. And they chose to birth on their land. So they just felt a really deep kind of spiritual connection to keep it and to care for the area and to just their kuleana. Or
so are they still here?
Yeah, he just drove out.
Okay, so that was, gotcha.
Yep,
Okay, that was
he comes out all the time.
Gotcha, okay.
Not really building anything or anything. He just does little projects.
Yeah.
And, it's really great. Really salt to the earth people.
Good stuff.
So he has a long history of doing nursery testing. He's planted a lot of native plants and things like that. In 20 years, that's going to be like this beautiful, beautiful forest.
Yeah.
So, which is really what you're supposed to do, because it'll provide shade, it'll provide insects, it'll kick up the whole ecological system to regenerate again and regenerate. Keep weeds out. So it's sort of a whole system to it.
Couldn't see the ocean before, but now you can come up here and see the water. Imagine the lava spewing up out of here.
And if you zoom in, if you were to zoom that in, like right where 24 is, and then you just zoom in a little to the left over there, a little to the left, there's those little tool sheds. As you zoom in on that, you'll see that there's actually like people's, that was their driveway entrance, and their house is all those, that rusty red, and those were their storage sheds for their home. That's kind of all around the edge. But that guy got lucky, Damien.
And right, Now, where's your house? Where were we just at?
Right there.
With the pointy top? Or to the left of that one?
To the left.
To the left, okay.
Yeah.
Right there, right? That's it. Is that it?
Yep.
So nobody died today during it? I know there were like I read there were some injuries, I guess, like a volcano bomb out of the.
There was, but that was not in Leilani. That was people doing things they shouldn't be doing. There was one in a boat, and then there was another one. But anybody really that got injured from the lava, was somewhere they shouldn't be doing.
Trying to view it, trying to look at.
I mean, there was one idiot, some wild hippie, that has some wild hippie ranch down by Red Road, down that direction. He had his 15 minutes of fame on some show. His name is Jesus from Cinderland. Some wild hippie farm where you can just go like camp, and I don't know what they do down there. But the lava was still flowing. Yeah. And I remember it showed on the news. So this guy decides that he's going to go through the police blockades down on Red Road. Right? And he's like, they can't keep me from my land. And so I guess someone had kind of crawled through the bushes and whatever and said, no, bro, your land is still there. Like, the lava didn't take it. Yeah. So he's like, well, if the lava didn't take it, I'm going back there. I don't know what he was on, but there was several police officers blocking the highway for a reason down there. And he took his truck and went 80 miles an hour at them. So what he failed to double check his information was that his place is still there. However, the lava came across over here. So he went barreling at 80 miles an hour towards the police and towards all the blockades. Wow. And the police were trying to tell him to stop, and he was just like, and he went through, and it was a little bit later in the day, so he did not notice that there was a 60-foot wall of lava that had crossed the highway at that point, and it was maybe 200 feet past the officers, and he did not see it and was in the hospital. Almost died.
Oh, so he lived.
He did live. He lived, yeah, but he was injured. Yeah. He got an injury. He had punctured lung and stuff because he literally stacked his truck right up into the
magma.
Wall. So, you should probably listen. There was one lady, poor thing. No one got hurt in this one, but it's confusing because it's a confusing situation. And you have several different departments. And, they have to put out one report, etc. So as lava was going towards Kapoho down that direction, like 2 weeks, they were evacuating different areas, but gotta make sure it's safe. So they're monitoring hundreds of different graphs and flows and thermals and all of these different things to do their monitoring because that is what they do. And they had said that one certain area could go back and get their things at like 11 o'clock the next morning. Yeah. They're like, okay, this street, you can go back and get your stuff. And so everybody was kind of lined up down there waiting for them to move the blockade so they could run back into their houses, and they were kind of planning what they were going to get. Right. Some people had been camping there the night before. Got nothing else to do. Yeah. And come 11 o'clock, nothing. 12 o'clock, nothing. Police are like, no, we still can't. It hasn't been cleared. We can't let you go. Everyone's waiting. It gets to be about 3 o'clock, and this lady gets really upset, and she starts screaming at the police officer. She's losing her mind. Understandably, no one's blaming anybody for anything that happened during that time because everyone's tensions were high. But she was losing her mind. And going, my house is right there. Why can't I go to my house? I'm calling God and the ASPCA, and I want to talk to this person. And why we've been here, we could have been in there and out of there already. And going. Someone catches that on video. And unfortunately for her, poor thing, that one freak out made it to the news because about 20 minutes after she went off wildly on the police officer for about 15 minutes. It was about 20 minutes later that lava came barreling, like right there. It took all of their homes out.
Mm.
So everyone stopped harassing the police after, so they put it on the news. They were like, look, if the officers are telling you something, please don't argue with them. Please don't fight with them.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. If it's safe, we'll let you go.
Right.
We're not stopping you. And that literally squashed every single person from yelling at a police officer for the entire rest of the eruption. Everybody calmed way down and was like, okay, I guess they really do know what they're doing. Had the officers been like, yeah, go ahead, it literally would have taken them out. So they had a very good control of what was happening. If you listened and you weren't trying to go in and figure out a way to roast marshmallows and stuff, you were safe, you were fine, nobody was hurt. It was a little bit hard to breathe, so there was a lot of asthma type things. Had to learn a lot about like dipping towels in baking soda and putting them over the windows because it would purify the air because the air was coming in was just so bad. So different things like that. N95 masks were made available a lot so that people could have those to breathe through. They definitely had them available during the rescue efforts that were going on for different animals. They evacuated thousands of animals. A lot of them they had to go to the other side of the island. So it really affected the whole island in a big way. People were taking people in on the other side of the island, taking animals in. People were donating left and right. I mean, furniture, clothing, everything. They set up a main hub, Uohonua hub, and that was really helpful for a lot of the residents who just needed things. They had a fund that helped a lot of people because it took a while for the agencies to come in. They're not even really in Hawaii. State of Hawaii jumped on asking for help, but the mainland agencies aren't that familiar with Hawaii. So it took a little while to get things together and get paperwork and get stuff going. So FEMA came in within a very reasonable amount of time. This was a very strange disaster because it was ongoing and they didn't know how long it was going to go on for. So there was people displaced that didn't know if they had a home or not. There was a no-fly zone. There's just all of these different things. It was a no-fly zone because it was so hazardous. When lava hits the ocean, it creates the haze, which is the really white, fluffy, super fluffy rolling clouds. If you watch some of the footage on things and you see it going close to the ocean and you just see these beautiful, fluffiest clouds, that's laze. So that's from live lava hitting the seawater and creating a gas and also shards of glass, like glass dust. So it kind of bursts into like a glass mist. That stuff, if you were to breathe that in, if you were to get caught, if you were standing at the bottom of this steaming fissure, and that was laze, that was the laze that's coming out of the ocean when the lava's hitting it, you would have about 3 minutes to live.
Really? Wow.
Yes. You would have about 3 minutes. If you were standing there breathing that in, you would have about 3 minutes. You wouldn't. You couldn't stand there for 3 minutes. You would literally drop dead and die right there. So laze is probably one of the most dangerous things. And so once the lava started pouring into the ocean, they really had to keep perimeter
clear
with wind patterns and stuff, and they couldn't have things really flying over. And there was too much smoke for a lot of the drones, but the drones helped evacuate people, like where they would fly drones through. There was some things about that. They would fly drones down the streets, like kind of checking for anybody that may still be here after civil defense and those people were had cleared an area. They've been through it however many times, like everybody knows. They would fly drones around in the beginning to double check and see, and that was really helpful. I know there was at least one person that helped save.
So there's people that that stayed and
Yeah, there's people that stayed. Some people had been through the 1990 Kalapana eruption, and so they kind of knew how eruptions went, and they just opted to stay in their home because they knew that like house might be okay. You know, they sort of understood how to decipher where it was and what it was, and most likely had friends that knew, or volcanologists, geologists, something. You know, they had enough knowledge to kind of know, you know, hey, Bob, can you call me if it looks like it's going to go, something changes other than what's happening right now, let me know. But it was an emergency evacuation. You were supposed to leave. But they're not going to kick your door in. Search your house for you and drag you out kicking and screaming. The main reason that people opted to stay is because their entire house is a serious risk of being robbed, burgled, just cleaned. So, which is apparently something that really happens in pretty much any disaster. As soon as there's an evacuation, people go in and start cleaning it up. So, if there was one thing that would have made this disaster, and probably any disaster, much easier, is if the federal government had a separate wing of police that was like disaster police. Like the U.S. Marshals of disaster areas that could go in and were specifically trained on different disasters, not to do the police jobs, not to do the fires or any of that, literally for crime prevention. Because a lot of people left after they got back. When they could come back in, their house was wrecked. Everything was stolen. To replace everything was far too much. They busted out windows. So, you know, had the house that was over there just been left alone, they could have moved back in for a couple grand, cleaned it up, got a new couch and a bed, and went on with their life. Then it's also been a really bad crime-ridden area ever since then, which it never was before.
Really? So it started after that? Wow.
The entire area of Puna is pretty crime-ridden, but Leilani Estates was kind of unique. That's why it had the most expensive, you know, more expensive homes than anywhere else and things like that. The community had kind of really kept a good handle on that. There's only one road that went through, and that was the county road. Every other road was private. That's why they paid for their hose, they paid for their stuff. All the neighbors knew each other, and now there's a lot of people are gone. A lot of people have sold off to other people and left. And a lot of people just left and never came back. They just let it go. Whether they got an insurance payout, let it go. So there's, last count that I counted was 24 vacant homes that have just been left. For whatever reason, they just never came back. And those have been a kind of a crime problem, and now there's just this whole unique section which has really made it a much more uncomfortable place to live than it used to be. And that's not specific to this area. That is something that people from all over, since they're actually coming to a disaster and they've been through their own disasters, have also said, that happened to our neighborhood too.
I can see that.
So if they could have like a little U.S. Marshal disaster team that comes in, and if you get caught doing a crime in somewhere that's declared a disaster area, gone. Like word would go out quick. No, bro, it's not worth it to go in there and take that. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, it's not worth it to go in there and get caught. Or if they had extra surveillance or extra stuff where they were just a special team that did disaster crime.
So that's tough. That's got to be tough. I mean, you've already gone through this disaster, and then you have to come back and find your home. That's got to be tough.
I mean, that was more heartbreaking than the lava. It was really, really heartbreaking to know that, like, you know, everything was gone. They just had this shell of a home left, and they got no help. Insurance didn't cover it. Nobody was helping them because they still had a structure left. So that was really hard for a lot of people, and I think that's the majority of people who are left just didn't have anywhere else to go. They still had a home left. And so they've just sort of been like, well, throw some paint on the walls and get through it, you know.
Yeah.
It's just been a different place to live after. It's been a really,
I can
really
imagine.
different place to live. I don't know. I mean, for me personally, I did not want to come back into Leilani. But then I graduated school when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And Leilani's the only place I knew for the last 6 years.
Right.
So I was like, guess I'm going back to Leilani.
Yeah, when you mentioned those masks, I was like, oh, okay, so y'all had already gone through it and were used to using those masks before 2020.
Yeah, a lot of people still had the N95 masks. They still had, boxes of N95 masks from the.
So y'all were already prepared for that, man. So y'all had that.
Yeah,
then y'all had COVID.
Yeah, COVID didn't really hit this area too much. So.
Yeah.
But it was nice to get a nice break. I was finally out of school. Everything was calm. And I got to wander out here for a long time.
Yeah, so
all the different things.
So here in Hawaii, so you said it didn't really hit that hard over here?
It did not hit this particular area.
Okay.
It did definitely, they had everybody locked down and shut down.
Okay.
It hit the tourist industry because the island's primarily run on tourism. So it taught, it was positive in a few ways. It was positive in bridging a gap in the need for tourism here. It made people realize how much, no matter what they're doing, the trickle down of tourism here affects them.
Yeah.
And without it, life's going to be kind of rough. So you need to not be so crazy about
and hate the
tourists.
tourists. Yeah.
Hatey about tourism.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Grumbly and stuff. And it made people a lot more sensitive to that. And then it also, not having any tourism for a year, the oceans and beaches started coming back to life. The coral reefs started going, the fish started coming back. Everything just repopulated so quickly that people hadn't seen it that beautiful in 30 years.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh my God, this is amazingly beautiful. And the fish started coming back. It was easy to get to places. And so people appreciated that. So now there's a big movement from both sides to make a nice balance of, I forget the terminology that they're using it right now. Not ecotourism, because that's a different type of thing, but it is like a balance, like where, how do we not have over tourism?
Yeah.
Like how do we have a nice balance of tourism? So Kauai tried doing an implemented program where you kind of have to book your vacation to come there in advance. So they will only allow a certain number of people. Like month of June, we allow whatever it is, 3,500. I don't know, throwing any number out there. We allow 3,500 people in June, 3,500 people in July. This is what we allow. So if you're on the list and you get your vacation on there, then you're good. So they're trying out that program.
Okay.
Other islands, or Oahu is a little bit different because they have a lot more tourism. So they're trying out different programs. Big Island is trying out different programs. So everybody's kind of trying to try out a little things. They're trying to limit maybe the number of boats, the times that a boat can go out per day, or the number of just a lot of different things. They're trying different things to make a nice balance. So that it just stays beautiful. It stays really nice.
I think that's important. I think I read earlier that they're charging people, like the company, if you're damaging the coral or doing anything there, they're making them pay a fine. Whereas before, I think they didn't make them pay a fine. They just tried to educate them, but I guess that wasn't working. So now you got to pay a fine. Even that the Navy, they're making them pay a fine because they crash landed a boat or something.
Yeah, they did a major one. I was like, whoops.
So
they got they're cracking down on it. I mean, the need for tourism is definitely there, but the over tourism is kind of coming to an end. Now that it's been completely wiped out, now they can kind of steer it back in the direction that it kind of should be to make it happy and pleasant for everybody that lives here and everybody that's visiting. So I think there's just positives and negatives for everything.
Just gotta find that balance.
There's positives and negatives. on all of it. I mean, this was beautiful. This was beautiful when it was erupting.
Yeah.
From the highway up there,
Uh-huh.
by the 5th week, like after
Yeah.
the first month,
Uh-huh.
if you looked out from the highway between the two main cities up there, and you looked this direction,
Yeah.
you could see the lava shooting like the tops of those palm trees. Like you could see it.
Yeah.
Not the glow. The glow was the whole sky was red.
Right.
When you just looked this direction, the whole sky was red all night, every night. So you knew it was erupting for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
All from this little hole.
Right, yeah.
Mostly it was this little guy. It was mostly that little guy.
Shooting up. Wow. That's awesome. This has been a great tour. I appreciate this. Yeah, I appreciate you.
I live during it.
Yeah.
Like being in it. It's very peaceful. It has a different feel to it. And I don't know if it's that this is just 5-year-old baby Earth with all the elements of magma in it.
Yeah.
And you get like a little bit of a, like when you jump in salt water, you get a little bit of change.
Yeah.
From like salt like pulls some ions off of you or whatever it is that nature does to you when you get in water or you get in snow in the cold. Like it triggers different things, and I always feel very peaceful out here.
I'm sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of nitrogen in the black rocks. Maybe it's super nitrogen rich air. Maybe that's what it is. Or just the solitude. And there's no bugs. Notice you haven't had a single bug on you since you've been out here.
Right,
No mosquitoes.
Yeah.
No nothing.
Uh-huh.
No mosquitoes. No flies. Because this isn't soil. It's not dirt. There's nothing out here.
Yeah.
There's no microbes. There's no, well, there probably is now. It's 5 years, but there's no microbes. There's no bacterias. There's no plants. There's no bugs. There's no stuff. There's spiders.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of spiders out here. I don't know why. I assume there's a cave down there somewhere that spiders have decided that they make 100,000 babies or something. And so since there's no predators out here at all,
yeah, so they just
I would
thrive.
assume that all their 100,000 babies have probably just found little spots to live. If I was to turn over 20 rocks in a row, I'd find a spider or a spider casing underneath one of the rocks. So and that's all the way down through here, all the way out, all the way out there. So yeah, spiders are taking over out here. If you flip over rocks, there's spiders. But that's really the only thing, other than a few random bees, birds, butterflies, a couple frogs.
Okay.
Little lost frogs. Okay, I got it again. Okay, stick your hand on in there.
Yeah.
How hot do you think it is?
I didn't stick it all the way in.
Just put your hands in there. It's just
I don't want to
heat.
pull back enough.
It's just heat. There's nothing living in there. It should be maybe 80 degrees or something of little heat puffs in there.
Yeah. So it's coming from the depths of the earth.
Yep. And the main ones over there those are about 160 degrees if you were to COVID monitor in the center of them. It's about 160. So if you were to fall into those, first of all, it goes down really far.
Yeah.
I don't know how far. If you put a glow stick on the end of a fishing line and drop it down, you will not see it hit the bottom. It'll just continue to disappear. So, and that's about 200 feet or something. It's pretty far down there. Yeah, you'd probably just get steamed like a lobster.
Yeah. It's all crazy. I mean, this stuff was down at maybe at the center of the earth, down way in the deep depths of the earth.
Yeah.
And it comes up and forms more land on top of that. Yeah, this is something.
That is precisely what happened.
Yeah.
But now it's cool when you look at other planets and you see the volcanoes. You're like, oh, this is.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that whole side of the thing is cool. Big old piece now. What's that? Another earthquake. Well, partly,
Yeah, so y'all have
we do have
okay.
earthquakes. We do feel them. There hasn't been many reported though since the eruption.
Yeah.
What does happen is the whole ground inflates like a balloon, and then when it erupts in a spot, it'll start to deflate. So as it's deflating, like things will crack and break, move and crack and break, and kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's actually breathing. It inflates and deflates.
Yeah.
The whole ground. It's inflating when it's filling up with lava, and after it erupts, it deflates. And if we could see it without the clouds, Mauna Kea is that direction, and Mauna Loa is that direction. So the top of Mauna Loa would be over there, the top of Mauna Kea would be right about there. And we can't see Kilauea, strangely, even though that's what went underground and came out here. It was from Kilauea.
Right, yeah.
We can't see it from here, even on the clearest day ever, just because of how the island is shaped.
Right. I guess it's not very high compared to the other others.
No, not at all. Not at all. And in another 50 years, it'll look like that hill. That's an old Smoku Hill. That's an old one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're kind of all over out here. They say that'll make an earthquake.
Oh, really?
Let's see if it's true. Not too big of a one, no beep. Not too big of an earthquake, please. It's a little one. It's all solid ground around here.
Yeah.
It's not. There's cracks in people's yards and stuff. It's just covered by greenery. And you have these kind of wild pieces where it looks like that in spots, and then it looks like that. It's wildly. And this is super crazy light.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as I throw it up, the wind will blow it that direction. Super crazy light stuff. In particular. But that's why it looks like bubbles, because it is. It's gas bubbles. Gas and air bubbles. It's like the color of Mercury.
Yeah.
Mercury planet.
Sparkling metallic.
There's a lot of Pele's hair in here, but because it's the most fragile, it's the first to break down. So it just ends up going in very, very, very tiny, tiny, tiny pieces. The thicker and tinier pieces. Really, it's in the soft stuff, though. That's where you'll find the most of it. But it just breaks down. Breaks down really fast.
Yeah.
Really small. Yeah. All those little pieces of threads are all pillows.
Yeah, I can see it.
Even though it looks even though it looks, you know, solid or whatever, like those holes out there, those holes weren't there before. I mean, they may have been there, but you couldn't see them.
Right.
So, all of this looks like all of that with lava tephra snow on it. It just sort of flew up in the air and the wind kind of sprinkled it all over.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the difference between that and this.
Yeah, so when all this stuff, you know, breaks down, if you were to take a pressure washer or a super air compressor and just blow all this stuff off of that,
Yeah.
it's just like that.
Gotcha.
It's just because the wind pattern usually comes from that direction. So it's blown all that tephra off of that way.
Gotcha.
And it just kind of blew it all this direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just breaking down. So really what you're walking on is that over there.
Yeah.
So if you want to take your chances on that, you can. I'm not doing it. I tried. I tried.
You tried? What do you mean you tried?
I tried. I went down to Ho'okupu where the old house used to be. And I was going to try to kind of walk out to like out there.
Yeah.
So I kind of just do like a line. I got like 30 feet out and realized I was in. No.
You thought your feet going to start melting?
No. Yeah, it wasn't even that hot. But
Yeah.
It was just like you get on a piece, like you see where that ledge is over there.
Yeah.
And you realize that like there's nothing under you, and that you're on a big piece, and when you step on it, it kind of
goes in. Oh man, yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
I have a long ways to get to anything solid. And that's really the biggest hazard of walking across that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that if it cracks, it can throw you off balance and drop you. Because you don't, if it's a big piece and it cracks, you know, it can drop and throw you back.
Yeah.
Or if it's a much smaller piece that gives you just a little hole like that, it'll crack and then it'll cut your leg open. Like stitches that have to go to the hospital. So it's just not something I was willing to risk out there.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
that.
I was willing to risk it, and then I got out there
At
like
first,
30
yeah.
feet, and I changed my mind. I was like, this is not, definitely not something that I think that should be left to the professionals that have the proper gear,
Yeah.
the proper type of things to wear, so that I'm not exactly sure what they wear, whether it's like Kevlar, I don't know what it is that they wear, but when the professionals go out on the lava to do those types of things, take samples and things like that, like they definitely have to really suit up with some pretty heavy gear.
All right.
Which I did not have that. I had like jeans and boots and stuff. And I've walked the 4 miles out beyond Kalapana when the lava was flowing in 2016. I walked that 4 miles out.
Okay, on the lava?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was lava flowing down from Pu'uo'o.
Yeah.
And it was hitting the ocean. So they had you could walk out 4 miles to where it was going down, but it was all across just seas of black lava bed like that.
Yeah.
And they had a road cut, but it was a little bit longer, so I had to do it the hard way and go over all the black lava flow. So I've walked across that type of black lava, but that's 100-year-old flows. You're walking across.
Right.
Not the new stuff. So all that stuff has already kind of broken down and it's real solidified where it's going to be.
Right.
It's not still working on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you start walking out there, like as you step, it starts to sound like a drum. Because it is. It is a drum. Like there is lava tubes going in and out over here. Lots of those different things. Just like these lava bubbles that'll kind of pop and do things.
Yeah.
It didn't used to look like that. At some point, it popped and dropped down. So if you had happened to be standing on that.
Huh? Yeah, it landed back there. Good stuff. Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Oh, thank you.
There will only ever be 500 of those made.
Good stuff.
And someone I used to there was rum down there. Rum.
It was down there.
There was rum. Yep. There was rum, but in the past week, someone I guess
took it.
Because Pele likes gin, but rum will work if she's, you know, she's out. And then this will give you like 10% off just at these places if you happen to be in Pahoa. And the other recommendations are just for places that always have decent food, decent service, and decent price.
Okay. Thank you.
So
I appreciate
those
it.
are the places that I go to, and then you can just look them up for times and places and menus and whatever else it is you want to know about them and see if those are right for you. But then you can know how to spell it all. And
Gotcha.
all of those amazing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, just got done my Fissure 8 tours, and man, it was good. It was just as expected. I thought it was going to be good when I checked it out and saw it online when I first booked this trip. And I guess I forgot about it, but when I was looking at the lava on the side of the road right here, I started thinking about the 2018 eruption, and I remember the reviews about her, and it was better than expected. I mean, it was good. It was a good tour. I mean, because she lived through it. Her house actually was destroyed during that 2018 eruption in Leilani Estates, and she now has moved back there and runs these tours. But it was good. It's a free tour. But you definitely want to leave her a good tip. I'd say $50 minimum. Because she's taking out of her time to do this, do these tours. But I appreciate it. Lovely lady, lovely spirit about her. But did a great job of explaining what happened and her experience, and her experience even afterwards. But definitely a good tour. I appreciate it. So makes up for that, you know, the manta ray miss out. I missed the manta rays. Didn't get to see the manta rays with big dive, with big island divers. Didn't see the manta rays. So hopefully tomorrow. Still got one day to make it up. They said I'm on standby for them. I was on standby for today. Didn't get the call. I'm on standby for tomorrow. We'll see about tomorrow. So I have until 2 p.m. They should let me know by 2 p.m. tomorrow if I'll be able to go back out and see the manta rays. But I'm gonna call them as well and let them know, man. This is my once in a lifetime trip to Hawaii. I think a mosquito came in the car with me. But and this is the one thing I haven't been able to do. Everything else I've been able to do, man. I mean, I have enjoyed my stay here in Hawaii. Seeing going to the volcano Kilauea and looking down over the crater into the lava pit and seeing the lava there. Going to the waterfalls and finding that waterfall and that treasure search. Finding a waterfall, getting into the waterfall, doing my snorkeling with the fish, and seeing that sea turtle, getting to swim with that sea turtle, even though he led me to the current that led me into the rocks. It's all good. I enjoyed my time. I might go snorkeling again tomorrow. last day here. But overall, man, I cannot complain about anything. It's been a good trip. I have enjoyed it to the max. Made the most of it. It's been good times. But it is the end of the day, man. I've only taken like 5,000 steps today. This has been an easy day for me. I slept like 12 hours last night. I went to sleep like 7:30. I woke up at 7 this morning. I got up at 7 this morning. But I needed that rest because my body was hurting just from even using those flippers, man. I think from snorkeling, using those muscles, my hamstrings were tight. Everything was tight, man. Doing all that snorkeling I've been doing, using these legs. It had my body sore last night, or yesterday, only yesterday. But I definitely caught up on my sleep, and I guess my body was able to heal. But I'm back, baby. Good stuff. Just went on this great tour. Excited, man. Good times. And tomorrow's my last day. Probably do some snorkeling. So I'll probably get back sore. But I got time to sleep on the airplane ride, the 9-hour airplane ride back to Atlanta Sunday morning. So I can sleep. Oh man, let's see, I think the Flash, the DC movie came out today. I was thinking about going to see that, but I was like, no, I can't waste my time here on the trip in Hawaii watching the movie. Something I can do back home, so I'll just see it a little later when I'm back home. I'm not gonna waste my trip watching the movie, so I need to take advantage of doing things that I can't do when I leave. So I've enjoyed myself. This has been a great trip. I love Alaska last year, Hawaii this year. It has not disappointed. But again, that tour was a great tour. We actually walked up to the because she's a resident, so we can go with her up and walk up onto the Fissure and see how it came up and learn. Because I guess I didn't know much about that eruption, but it didn't. Like, it's from Kilauea. The lava was from Kilauea, but it traveled underground to these fissures. It created these fissures, and right in her backyard. And that's where the lava is shooting up from and coming from those fissures, which was awesome, man. Just learning about that. Look, as we're driving through this lava field right now. Yeah, that's where lava is traveling, going to the ocean, which is ahead of us.